Tito rolling. And then we get to the Philippines, and he takes us out to a karaoke place, and he is singing, and then all these people are like coming up to him. And they're like, hey, Sir Bob. And we're like, who's Sir Bob? And he's like, oh, hi. And we're like, this is Sir Bob? And we're like, why is he Sir Bob? I never asked why. I never asked him why is he called Sir Bob, but he was always Sir Bob. So from then on, to me, he was always Tito Sir Bob. So I always noticed with him also is that he had a lot of, he called nurses or angels. And they were always around him all the time. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. He has angels around him all the time. But it was sort of awkward, but still fun.
Not imaginary?
No.
Okay. Needed to clarify.
They were really close friends.
Got it.
He was speaking then. Really, he was remember.
Yeah. My memory of Ernie was Ernie would always pick me up from high school because he had a mail route that was close to Murrow, and so he would pick me up. Sometimes we would go home. Well, one time Armando was at our house, and then Ernie was there too, and we always marveled about Ernie's car. We called it his fake him. And we were like, wow, this is really cool. And so I think we were about 15 at the time. And then Ernie was over. And me and Armando asked Ernie, hey, can we drive your car? And he said, yeah, sure. And so me and Armando were like, all right, cool, let's drive his car. And then Armando was like, you know how to drive stick? I was like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. So we get in his car, and Armando gets in the driver's seat, and he drives first. And we're driving around the corner, and then we get to the stop sign to stop, and then we switch. And I get in the driver's seat, and I'm putting the gear in, and I'm letting it go. And I'm like, dude, I know what I'm doing. I know I'm doing it right, and we're not going anywhere. And I'm still trying to do it, and we're still not going anywhere. We feel it moving, and we're still not going anywhere. And we're like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? So then Armando looked down and he said, dude, the e-brake is still up. So I'm like, oh man. So we put it down, we drove it back to my house, and then we got back and Ernie said, hey, why does it smell like smoke? And we're like, well, I don't know. What's not? I don't know. Why? He said, well, there must be something wrong here. But we were like, we must have figured it out later. But I mean, Ernie was great. He was awesome. He was, for me, he was always my big brother. He was always the guy that always made sure that I was around. He would always give me a call. Ernie and I we'd play in the backyard all the time. He taught me how to throw a baseball. In the garage, we would set up my action figures on the basketball hoop, and we would take the ball and we'd throw the balls at it, try to knock them down. One time we were in the backyard, we grabbed apples. He said, oh, let's go grab these apples. And we set up the tire, and we went, and we took apples and we started throwing them into the tire. And then we were having a lot of fun, and all of a sudden Tito Toto saw us. We were like, oh no, so we ran away. But it was fun. But Lola was awesome for me because she just gave me anything I wanted. We would always stay there on Friday during Lent. Well, we would always stay there on Fridays, but especially during Lent, she would always make me just scrambled eggs to eat because she knew I wouldn't eat anything else. But then at midnight, once it turned midnight, she would make me hot dogs. As you can see, my beautiful complexion is thankful to Lola. But I'll always remember that because she always, right at midnight, she would always make me hot dogs. Just so I could eat. But, so, yeah. And like Ruben said, I never I never heard these stories about Lolo or anything, and it's nice to hear. And I think it's really important for at least our generation to know these stories, because without these stories, how does it continue? You know, how do we pass this on forward? If we don't know it, we can't pass it. So we thank you for sharing these stories with us. Yes?
So since not too many people have Lolo stories, I just will share mine.
Yes!
Well, when I was little.
You're still little.
Yeah.